The address right next to it, to the vast drive.
Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to the June Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition meeting. I apologize for it being cold in here. It seems like it seems nice to you. I haven't put my jacket on, but it seemed a little chilly in here. But once again, welcome to the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition. We'll go over the head table here, and then we'll go around the room. But before we do that, we typically start with a moment of silence. We have had since our last meeting, of course, unfortunately, some untimely homicides and deaths that we've had. One in particular was the domestic violence situation in the Thurston Road area, that is still going through investigations and things of that nature. But we have had several shootings and et cetera. And so we want to just keep all of those. And I want to say this, that a friend of mine, actually a member of my church, family member in Canada, was murdered. And I just want to take an opportunity as well to lift that up, because this was a mass shooting. It happened in Canada. 50 shots were fired. Several people were shot. Some are still fighting for their lives. This happened in Canada, near the Albion Collegiate Institute. George Parks was the individual that was killed and murdered. It made national news. So this violence, and he contacted me immediately because he knows the work that I do around gun violence, and he was just so devastated, obviously, as anybody would be, that his older brother was gunned down playing dominoes with a bunch of people that they do every weekend. They come together and just hang out, and somebody, random person, came by and shot all of these people. So let's just start with a moment of silence and think about all of those who've been impacted by gun violence. Thank you. I'm Willie Lightfoot, City Councilman, Chair of Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition.
Miguel Melendez, City Council President.
Darcy Kemajo, City Council staff and legislative assistant.
Let's go around the room tonight.
Rules of Thought, American Medical Response.
Mhm.
Crystal Craig, pediatrician with the University of Rochester.
Michael Curran, I'm the ATF resident agent in charge.
Shavoni Noble, you can announce yourself and tell who you're with. We're going around the room and doing introductions.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Shivani, and I'm part of the Advocacy Committee.
Thank you. Welcome, Carla.
Hi, everyone. This is Carla Phillips. I'm just a member.
Tony, welcome, Carla.
Good evening, Tony Nelson, Program Manager of 585 SNUG.
Welcome, Tony. Michael Patterson. Looks like you're driving, brother. Go ahead. Just introduce yourself, maybe who you're with, who you represent. I think he can hear me. Just we'll come back to you, Mike. Captain Muir. It's okay, Mike. We see you, brother. Bless you. Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Captain Muir of the Rochester Police Department.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. Jareth, did I say that correct?
Close, Yuri, with
Yuri.
Monroe County Department of Public Health.
Wonderful. So good to have you with us. Tenios, Mr. T. Hey, Rev.
How's it going, everyone?
You're muted, Tenios, if you're speaking. How you doing? Mr. Saunders.
Hi, Victor Saunders, Mayor's Advisor on Violence Prevention Programs.
Welcome, Vic. Nice logo, bro. Aaliyah,
Good evening, Aaliyah Hinton Williams, Crisis Intervention Services Unit for the City of Rochester.
welcome, Aaliyah. How are you? Dassy, oh, we already had Dassy. Sabrina,
Sabrina Lamar, Monroe County District Attorney's Office.
we got the District Attorney's Office in the building. Welcome. And Rev just walked in. Introduce yourself, sir.
Reverend Cox, your Faith Leadership Roundtable.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we have a pretty power-packed agenda here. But before we go into our agenda, I just want to, when I came in today, the coalition, we've been very fortunate and blessed to have the support that we've been having with the president and city council. We kind of codified this work under the city council umbrella. And because of that, it's opened up doors for us to be able to do some of the work that we had in our coalition solution action plan, as well as some of the stuff that you're going to hear, some exciting stuff that Ruth is going to be bringing to you later about our youth conference, but also the materials that you see. You should see some of the materials that you see in front of us. Those of you who are not in the room, we have several banners. We have our tablecloths. We have our different poster boards, as well as a mock-up of the Shot from a Gun Can't Be Undone PSA and/or billboards that I'll be talking about in my report later. So you get to see some of the materials. There are also t-shirts here. For those of you who are in person, feel free to grab you a Rock Against Gun Violence t-shirt before you leave. They will be available to everyone at each meeting and at our conference. We'll make sure that everybody, as much until they're gone, supplies last, but we'll have them available for our youth as well at the conference. So I just wanted to say Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition is on the move, right? So it's not only are we the solution action plan, do we have our tangible plan? Not only are we putting things and implementing things, and we'll talk about that stuff later as what we're doing, but you see us also putting resources behind. And oftentimes when you're like me and we've been doing this for a long time with no resources, I feel like a little kid on Christmas. When you get a little bit of resources, I get excited because I know that's progress. I mean, that may not resonate with some people, but for me, it's a big deal. And so I thank the president, city council for their support, because they believe in our work that we're doing. And that's very important for us moving this work forward later. So we're going to go right into our updates, and we'll start with Captain Murrah. Most of you should have gotten a lot of data that Captain Murrah has shared with us, maps and data that is very powerful when you look at some of this stuff. Hopefully we'll utilize some of this at our conference, but there's a lot of information that we've been sharing with you guys via email. So Captain Murrah, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to get right into it, and I'll try to keep it short. So looking at the open data portal, to date, we're at 21 homicides, unfortunately. Shootings, we have 67 incidents, 11 had multiple victims, and we have a total of 83 shooting victims so far this year, as of the last update on the open data portal. The average age, the median age for our shooting victims is 29 years old. So I'll move into the guns taken off the street in the month of May. Handguns, we had 177 handguns in 1 month taken off the street. We had 45 long guns in the month of May, and 22 handguns that were ghost guns and 5 long guns that were ghost guns. So 27 ghost guns total. So just for crime guns alone, last month we had 249 total, and those are crime guns. There were another 78 non-crime guns, but for crime guns alone, we're just under 250. Reading some information with regards to the dispositions of the arrestees. We had 71 criminal possession of a weapon arraignments in Monroe County last month. This does not mean that the CPW second charge was the top charge. It doesn't mean that that's the only charge, but the CPW was one of the charges. So 15 of those individuals, or 21%, were held without bail. So 15 out of 71 were held without bail. 40 individuals had cash, bond, bail set. And of those cases, 18 individuals had the cash bail set at $5,000 or less. 15 of the 71 arrests, the individuals were released with non-monetary conditions, basically on their own recognizance. And let's see, 1 out of the 71, it was unknown information. It just hadn't been updated in the computer at that point. So that is of the 71 folks that were charged. So the other information I have, and all this was sent in an email today, I would expect that you'll be receiving it from DASI sometime in the very near future if you haven't already. So you can go over the data yourselves as well shortly. I'm just going to run through this real quick. So the ages of the arrestees, the biggest, I'm looking at the data. I don't want to go through each one. The youngest person arrested was 15. We had 1 person 15, 1 person 16, 3 18, 6 19, 20 through 22. We had 5, 6, and 6. And those were the majority of the ages where they were held. But it goes all the way up to 64 years old. But the vast majority of the arrestees were between the age of 18 and 23. 26, we had 5 arrests as well. So the age of 26. But so that's what I have for data. And again, you'll all be receiving that. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them for a minute or two so I don't hog up the whole meeting.
Captain Mura, my question would be, is this data that you will provide to us monthly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. That's awesome. That's very, very awesome. I know that was a request from Kathy, and we appreciate that because this data, even though we know that a lot of this data is on the open data portal, it takes a lot to kind of navigate that. And whereas when you're giving it to us in a form where it's all in one running sheet, it's very helpful for those of us who may not be literate and or the digital divide is very real. So we want to have this in a printed format so that we're able to share it with individuals who may not have access to the open data portal. So we're going to take questions from to Captain Mura. We have a question on it here, Reverend Cox.
Captain, how are you doing? Thank you for your report. I got a question. How many of those were repeated offenders with felons?
I don't have that information, but I can request it. So moving forward, I'll see if I can get that information for you.
All right.
That will be very important for us, for those of us who agree with the dangerous standard, as well as those of us who signed the consortium to change with common sense laws and things of that nature. We're advocating. That's an advocacy piece for the coalition as well. That's a very helpful data point.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I'll try to get that information moving forward. And as I mentioned before, everything I reported on, I will send in an email prior to the meeting every month.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions for Captain Mura? Yes, just speak up, Pat, so they can hear you.
Yes, good evening, Captain. This is Patricia Williams Brigade. I was just wondering, will you be able to provide the race and the sex as well as the area that particular individual came from? Because there may be people coming from out of the city that are bringing guns, and that would be helpful as well, given we're not city residents.
I'm sure that I can get the data. Let me verify that I can get that data every month, because sometimes I should be able to get it. Let me say that.
Okay, if there is, because that's a lot, but hopefully you can get it monthly. If not, we can explore quarterly, but let's see if you can get it monthly, please.
And that was age, race.
Say it again.
And race and sex. You have age, don't you?
We have age.
Yes, I have the age, so I should be able to get the race and sex as well. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Okay, as well as where they reside, where they come from.
Zip code.
I could probably give you an area, exactly like the councilman said. I couldn't give you an exact address for sure.
Zip code. Zip code will be great, because see, now as we begin to plot that map, for those of you who got that map that he's been sending out, when we start compiling these dots on top of this map, I'm convinced that we're probably going to see a pattern here, right? In these same neighborhoods, these same areas, what we call for years, we heard called depressing, right? Black and brown communities, okay? And so, you know, that's very important. So thank you for that, Pat. We'll take one more question for Captain Murrah. If anybody on Zoom?
Where's Kathy?
I know Kathy is an excuse. She had I know her. You're right, because she would have not missed that opportunity. Kathy had an incident with her eye.
That's too bad.
Yes, she's recovering from an injury, a very bad injury, but she's recovering. Shivani, go ahead, Ms. Noble.
Oh, thank you. I don't have a question. I just want to, I was writing down some notes. Did you say that, well, what's the percentage that violence has increased within, you know, the past few months, or, you know, from the beginning of the year, or however long you guys have been, you know, collecting data? Has it gone up dramatically, or?
Well, that's a very difficult question unless we break it down a little bit more. When you're referring to violence, you could be talking about stabbing, shootings, robberies, rape. There's a bunch of things. So if we're just talking about shootings alone, I could probably get that data for you, but I don't have it sitting in front of me.
Okay, you know, all violence is important, but you know what our core focus is gun violence. So that's what I would be referring to.
Okay.
Shivani, are you receiving the emails from us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. With a lot of the information that you're asking about is on the data sheets that have been sent out that go back 5 years. We asked for 5 years of data for all of the above: shootings, homicides, burglaries, car thefts, robberies. All of that was should have been shared with you via email.
I can send out. Yeah.
We'll send it again, okay?
Copy. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Good question, though. Thank you, Captain Murrah, and we appreciate you. Captain Murrah, I say this all the time, and I have no problem saying it again. He's been a day one with us since 2017, 2018, since we started the coalition, and we appreciate you, sir, for just being there for us. And you stay safe and keep doing the great work that you're doing.
Thank you, sir. And believe me, I appreciate this group and everything that everybody here is doing, because I realize that the vast majority of the folks that are here voluntarily. And I can't tell you how important that is, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're going to go into crisis intervention update. Ms. Aaliyah.
All right, good evening, everyone. I just have a short update on tonight. And so Crisis Services has essentially, we're continuing our homeless outreach project every weekend. We anticipate going through until probably about the second weekend of July with that. So that is continuing to move forward. We probably had over 200 points of contact at this point with those in the homeless community on the weekend, just engaging them and giving them little care packages with snacks inside. So that has been going well. And we're also transitioning over to our new database that was built for us by the city's IT department. Very excited about the database. It's going to be able to allow us to create better, more reliable reports just about around just about any data that we might be looking for. So we're very excited about that. We're trying to make that transition, updating our data and getting up to speed with all of those numbers so that we can get our data updated on the city's website. And the PIC team, though, in terms of data, they're continuing to average about 200 calls weekly. And the community support team, they're looking at about 100 contacts a week as well. So things are moving forward and things are going well for us.
Now, Aaliyah, thank you for that report. We, in a last month meeting, we were talking about the budget time. We were talking about potentially you giving us a, you know, if you needed more help or whatever. I don't think we ever received that. Are you good? I mean, you know, we were talking about maybe getting you 200 calls a month is a lot of calls, and we talked about that possibly you needing more staff. And so, is that something that you tabled for now, or you know?
Yes, we had some internal conversation. I did take that right back to the commissioner and the deputy commissioner per our discussion with yourself and Council President Melendez. And after the internal conversations, we believe that the staff that we have in place right now is able to adequately address the calls that we are responsible for. So to your point, we would like to table it for right now.
Yeah, I hear you. And we'll talk offline.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for her.
Go ahead, sir. Yes, sir.
It's Reverend Cox, Leah. Do you have a food bank in association to what you're doing?
No, we do not have a food bank.
Okay. I had a call with some resources today, and I just wanted to know if, you know, she could use them.
Oh, okay.
Got you. So if someone wants to donate, Aaliyah, and they have resources that they want to provide, is that something that your team would receive? Would you take donations if they wanted to give to such a program, what you're doing with the homeless people? If there was somebody that in the community, church, et cetera, who says, hey, we want to help out, be a part of that, and we have resources, is that something you guys could receive?
So we can receive small items. We do give out a bag. It's not a large bag, but we do make sure that it's full. We like to give people something that they can actually use and have for them while they're out. Because we know they don't have access to kitchens and cookware and things of that nature. So it probably would depend on what it is, but we would certainly be open to the discussion.
So Reverend Cox, you probably have her via on email. Sure, y'all can connect together, and if you have some resources that you think may be helpful to them, I would say make that connection.
Captain Person's team could do it. We do it regular, weekly, so.
Okay, say it again.
Excuse me.
What?
Oh, it's Naya. I just wanted to say, Miss Aaliyah, could you drop your email in the chat? Because my organization definitely do the same thing every Wednesday and Friday. So maybe we could collaborate or share some resources if you don't mind dropping your email in the chat.
Sure.
Wonderful.
So Captain Person outreach team from RPD, we have a meeting every Wednesday and every Thursday we do outreach. We get an RTS bus, the whole 9 yards, and we actually go out to all the homeless camps.
Okay.
And deliver food and deliver all kinds of stuff.
So there's another connection there.
About 25 people, volunteers that go out to it.
There's another connection there. So you connect with, see, another thing that we like to do here at the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition is we like to connect people together, because oftentimes one of us don't know what each other's doing, but we're much stronger together than we are apart. So thank you, Miss Aaliyah, for your report. We appreciate the work that you're doing. And we'll move on to Mr. Saunders, who always has a lot going on in his camp. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sure.
Hi, Aaliyah, this is Tricia. I was wondering, of those 200 calls, are you capturing information as to how many of them are gun violence related and if it with the family? Some gun violence related calls may be reported and others are not reported, but they may seek out services, and that may be data that's not being captured by Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition. that you may be able to capture.
Can you repeat the question, Councilman Lightfoot?
Of the two
Go ahead.
hundred, of the 200 calls, are you capturing how many of them are gun violence related?
Well, yes, we do capture the purpose of the call because that will determine what service the person needs.
Right, is that data part of what the coalition receives? Because some of the people that may seek out help may not be reporting it to the police, but they're reporting it to your organization so that they can get family services and things like that. And that may be data that's not being captured by the coalition that could be being captured by you to give more information and stats to the coalition.
No, we haven't done any comparative data with the coalition.
No, I think she's saying, what I understand her saying is the information that you're capturing, the data that you're capturing, is that data being shared with the coalition?
No, we haven't been asked to share any data.
Right. So she's thinking that there may be some connection there, that we may be missing some stuff from what we're getting from the police department. There may be gaps in some things. So we may want to just look at that and see, okay, what are we receiving from the police department? Because you get all the emails, and then what data or gaps that you think would be something that would be useful to the coalition that could be shared. Okay, so maybe we can take a look at that and see if there's any areas that could be helpful to us, as we're, especially when in regards to the solution action plan, right? Because you know what that looks like and what information could be helpful.
Well, let me just say this, any service provisions that we do, it requires a police report. So then that data probably has already been captured by RPD, but we can certainly explore it.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. We go to Mr. Saunders.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, firstly, I'd like to start with the mayor has extended his gun violence emergency proclamation due to recent shootings we've had, structure shootings and things of that nature, as well as the homicide that you mentioned that happened over in the Thurston Road area. Along with that, we're currently strategizing with the other partners in the community around structure shooting response, our protocols within Office of Violence Prevention, with the advanced peace model, as well as pathways to peace, and how we're addressing the whole household when we're going to do outreach at homes that have been shot up, understanding that it might have one point of contention, one person in that household that someone might have a beef with, but we understand an entire family lives within that house and might be in need of services all the way. Some might even need to be moved, and in that way, we contact Wanda and her people at Rise Up Rochester as well to look at the possibility of moving people out of those households. We are meeting with Office of Children and Family Services, Monroe County Family Services, Probation, Center for Youth, and Villa of Hope, as well as the City of Rochester, Monroe County Youth Bureau, and Tony Jordan around addressing issues with our repeat offenders and those young people who are at the Monroe County Children's Center currently and who are on probation or diversion, who would also be reporting to Villa of Hope for the Juvenile Reporting Center, understanding that these are already adjudicated youth that are already in the midst of being justice involved. So we want to really target our approach to these same individuals that generally are repeat offenders in these stolen cars and things of that nature. And what we did recognize is an uptick in structure shootings within the last couple of months. And in looking at that, we recognized that a couple of the young people that we came in contact with through outreach had been recently released from the Children's Center after being caught in a stolen vehicle. So we're looking at that and trying to come up with a targeted approach in how we support the county's JEDS program and offer more assistance and resources to the families of these young people, understanding that in some of these households, it's not just parents, but grandparents are trying to raise these young people. and they're in need of alternatives and resources to help them deal with the stress and trauma behind being involved in this type of behavior. Our Wear Orange hashtag End Gun Violence event on June 1st was phenomenal at Parcel 5. It was very well represented. The community came out. It was a beautiful day. A lot of youth interaction, which is phenomenal, and what we really want to be able to push as we're going towards our summit, having the youth really have a voice in this, considering a lot of their counterparts are not only involved, but we also have predicates who might not be involved, but they're around these same individuals on a daily basis. So getting the message of ending gun violence through to them and getting them to share that with their peers will be phenomenal. We also, as a follow-up to the June 1st event that we had, a contingent of us, all members of the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition, Serena Cotton and her crew from Rock the Peace, Wanda Ridgway and Kevo Owens from Rise Up Rochester, myself, we're all down in Albany for the Gun Violence Awareness Albany Advocacy Day. Sat on the Anti-Gun Violence Subcommittee for New York State, Caucus for Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian legislatives. It went very well. We made a lot of contacts. We spent some time with Governor Hochul's Director of Office of Violence Prevention Programs, Ms. Kayleana Thomas. We had already done a call from Rochester to downstate that included also all Buffalo and Syracuse, and we're bringing Albany into that, trying to put together a cohesive coalition of New York cities that are working towards eradicating gun violence. Along with that, contact was made with the American Academy of Pediatrics, New York State Chapter 1 Gun Safety Committee, and they're also looking to partner with us this endeavor to really do more work, not only within the community, but the work that we're also doing in our hospital-based programming. Through the work that we're doing with UR Medical Center and other community organizations, the Health Systems Community-Based Violence Prevention Program Collaborative, we have been meeting around the firearm injury prevention program to do more work on behalf of the young people that we have in the community that were having previously what we considered non-life-threatening injuries, but we don't want to call them non-life-threatening. We want to call them life-altering injuries. And a lot of these young people who have been injured, some of which are paralyzed, can't even go home because the households are not prepared to bring them home because it's not handy capable. So being able to bring awareness to that and talk about bringing more funding availability to those households and help these families to be able to work with their young people is going to be paramount to their success and being able to lead a healthy life once again. For the most part, that's a big component of what we're doing right now. There's a lot of national work being done with our partners through the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform. We have, through our leadership, our partners' leadership through Advanced Peace Model, two of our leaders, the coordinator as well as the senior coordinator, are in DC for the next couple of days, working with the National Body for Advanced Peace around working directly with our shooters in the Dewey corridor. And it's been highly successful this previous year. And hopefully we'll be expanding that to the 19th Ward within the upcoming year. In the Dewey corridor within the year and a half that our guys were out there, this first 18-month cohort, I believe the homicides were down 52% and shootings were down another, if I'm not mistaken, high 40s. So we're really trying to be as focused as possible in our outreach effort, being targeted and trying to be as impactful as we can be. We received funding from a national body to have a contingent of people from Rochester. We have enough funding for 20 individuals. We're currently meeting with Rock the Peace, Rise Up Rochester, and others for the National Call for Survivors Speak March on Washington. We will be sending down a contingent of individuals pushing our agenda to end gun violence and really spreading the word as much as we can to whoever wants to join this fight and this endeavor to end gun violence, not only locally, statewide, but also nationally. For the question that the Reverend asked about the food pantry, if I'm not mistaken, Delphi House is phenomenal as far as a food pantry. We have utilized them in assisting victims who had need food in their households, as well as, I believe, Sweet Mama Rose on Dewey, Devin Reynolds, food pantry, generally is stocked, but also accepts donations as well in the way of food and items like that. If I'm not mistaken, they're still doing their mobile shower center for the homeless. And that's a phenomenal resource that's assisting out in the community as well. Right now, like I said, we are trying to put together this strategy to really support the JEDS program and the parents and grandparents more so. And looking at the ages that Captain Murrah had mentioned in the way of individuals getting caught with firearms and things of that nature. We understand that through the work that we're doing in conjunction with the Urban League, they have a program as well from 16 to 24-year-olds, and we're trying to really target a lot of those individuals, as well as working with Rochester Works right now for our younger participants, 14 to 18, for summer employment, and there's no deadline on those jobs. And that's Sweet Ida Mae's Pantry, 1274 Dewey Avenue. Thank you, Naya. And, you know, we really want to try and refocus these same young people who a lot of times aren't just in the criminal activity, but they're bored. And we want to keep them as busy as possible. And if you can be busy and put some money in your pocket, you might change your behavior. And that's something we are definitely trying to move towards, changing the behavior of all these young people involved and giving them a positive outlook on life, because we understand that the risk that they're taking in the community is due to the fact that they feel that they're not worried about tomorrow, they're only thinking about today. And we have to give them a reason to want to have a future. So that is a big component of what we're pushing right now. And this is the advisory in conjunction with the Office of Violence Prevention. So I think that might be just about it. Myself, since the last meeting, was part of the Office of Violence Prevention nationally at the White House for that convening. That really let you know all the different work that's taking place, phenomenal work that's being taken place across the country, and being able to meet with other partners who are actually doing very similar things, and those that aren't, being able to get information about the work that's being accomplished here in Rochester. And lastly, we have our deadline date is within the next couple of days for the second component of the Rochester Peace Collective. That's $750,000 for the RFP. And that is for individuals that had not been funded the first time and might have just not made the cut the first time, but have an opportunity to be funded out of this next pot of money. And we want to make sure, I know at this point you only have a couple of days, but if we have community organizations that are trying to do something and have an opportunity to submit, we would definitely want you to submit so that we can spend these ARPA funds.
So Vic, congratulations on the DC, the Albany stuff, the state stuff, all the things you're doing, making those partnerships and collaborations with, my father used to say all the time, we have to get outside of our community and connect with other organizations because, people are doing a lot of great things. And so are we doing a lot of great things that we can share with others as well, too. But I want you to back up. And the last thing that you just said, I think is very important. There's $750,000 available now for individuals that are working in the spaces of anti-gun violence, and they are able to apply to potentially become a recipient of some of those monies, and who are you looking for? When are they able to apply, and how do they apply?
Well, there was a release done, and it came out in May. The deadline date is within the next 2 days. It came out in May. A schedule for the to be able to apply had come out, as well as for questions and things of that nature. All of that was on the cityofrochester.gov website, Rochester Peace Collective, and it gives the entire RFP, and they can look at the RFP and see. I know the first pot of funding that we had was laden heavily with reentry, as well as job stuff, some as well as youth development. So in those spaces, when we're talking about gun violence, there's numerous different avenues that individuals are offering services within the community. We even had a barbering apprenticeship program, as well as after school programs for young people. So there are numerous different ways to be able to assist in this fight against gun violence. Whatever your niche is, and you know that it positively affects the community in a way that would lend somebody away from wanting to pick up a firearm to handle conflict, please take a look at the RFP, cityofrochester.gov/Peace Collective, and we would love for you to be able to apply for that funding.
Vic, can you give us a guesstimate of, because this comes directly to your office, correct?
No, it goes to the Office of Neighborhood Safety, Terrell Cunningham, and Dr. Green.
So we don't know how many applicants we may have up at this point.
Well, for the first $5 million that we put up for RFP, we received 58 solicitations, and we have 19 that we currently fund. So out of the 750 that's left, depending upon the number of individuals in the community who would apply, there's real no way for me to know until we get those individuals that applied.
So because you had 58 and you only funded 19, then that's however many 20-something, almost 30 that didn't get funded. Do those people get moved up to the top of the list for the next time, or do they have to apply?
Well, that depends. They won't necessarily get moved up, because of those that were funded, those 19, almost all of those, the majority of those were on a three-year contingency. So basically, they would be looked at on a year-by-year basis, and the data and the work that they put in their proposal would be looked at, and they're being monitored. And if they were able to complete the work that they put forth in their proposal, and they're looked upon positively, they would be in line to receive the second and third year possibly of their funding. So with this new $750,000, more than likely it'll just be for that 1 year that they will be able to receive funding, which is not a whole lot, but it does allow for the opportunity to make contact and do some good work within the community that will assist us in this endeavor.
I'm going to take one question from someone for Vic, and then we have to move along. Our time is running. But does anybody have a question? Go ahead, President Melendez.
Yes, just some quick clarifying question. For the 19 that were originally funded, are all 19 continuing?
So far, we haven't had anyone just drop off and say that they weren't going to continue the funding. Like I said previously, when the RFP came out, it was directly up under me as far as being able to supervise it and monitor those situations. But now it's under the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Dr. Green. They would have that information more readily available than I would at this time.
Okay, and then last question, for the Advanced Peace Program, you mentioned that it started on Dewey, and I know that the 10th ward, and then it's moving to the 19th ward. The data that we have from Captain Mura points to 14621, 14605 as being the hottest for both shootings and homicides, with 14611 coming in third. Obviously not something to be proud of, but just want to get a sense of how will that program continue to expand, so we make sure that we're also hitting the neighborhoods that are hardest hit by gun violence.
Well, I think one of the ideas that we had around the West Side was also the work that we're going to be doing with the opioid task force in the Jefferson Avenue area, and the fact that being able to saturate one particular area with as much resources as possible at that particular time might be driving that situation, and understanding that we have a lot of outreach and things of that nature currently in the Northeast between Rochester, between the work that we're doing, between the great work that SNUG is doing in their geographic areas. So we're looking at all those different things as we try and look at the prospect of this moving to the, I won't say moving, a matter of fact, I'll say in conjunction with Dewey. We're not going to stop doing the work on the Dewey corridor. We'll just have two individuals that will be neighborhood change agents working specifically in the West Side as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Saunders. Thank you for that report. Appreciate that. Continue the good work that you're doing. I did attend the event over on June 1st at Parcel 5. Wasn't able to stay for all of the presentations and stuff because there was a square fair going on. I would also offer for consideration as we move on. One of the things we've been trying to do is have a community calendar, especially for city-sponsored events. I think we should do a better job of not having events at the same time, so that we're not, because the Square Fair event was beautiful too. And I spent a lot of time over there, and I split my time between the Square Fair and the Parcel 5 event. So I would just offer consideration that as we, especially things that we know are annual, like the Square Fair is an annual event. The June 1st anti-violence thing is an annual thing. So we know these things are going to happen. We know they're not organic, if you will. And so I would just offer for consideration that we be intentional about, especially for city sponsored or events that the city is involved in, that we can make sure that we're not competing against each other, that we're working in collaboration. I think would be beneficial to everybody.
I agree 100%. Matter of fact, when I saw you that Saturday, the first thing I thought about was your wellness fair and Rock the Peace last year. Same thing. I had thought about it as soon as I said, I was like, man, we had a brief discussion about it, but we really didn't settle in and make sure that happened before this event. But I think hindsight, looking at next year, I think we're really gonna make that an effort.
Thank you, Vic. We're gonna move along. I'm sorry, we're running a little bit behind time, but this is important stuff. At that event, and that's why I brought it up, because I saw Dr. Green at both Square Fair and I saw her at the Parcel 5 event. And at both events, we discussed and talked about, she wanted to bring the folks from Pathways of Peace and ONS to our meetings. And she asked in our committee meetings, public safety meetings, if we would actually give them space on the agenda. So we've done that. Is anyone here? I believe that we had Mike Patterson's here from Pathways of Peace. Are you here to speak on behalf of Pathways of Peace and ONS?
No, Mike Patterson is not with ONS or Pathways. Mike Patterson is with Teen Empowerment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. My bad. You're right. Teen Empowerment. Is there anyone from Pathways of Peace or ONS to address the coalition tonight?
No, Mr. Tukes would normally do that. I believe he's unavailable tonight, and my ONS coordinator is in Washington, D.C.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We'll let Dr. Green know that we did do our word, and we did have them on the agenda for tonight. We'll move to the youth. Well, I'm gonna save the youth committee for towards the end. we're gonna go to Mr. Curran from ATF, because he had some great stuff he shared with us and some other stuff that he's working on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First off, give Kathy my best and he has a fast recovery.
Absolutely.
We miss her. I sent something out today to Dazzy. She shared it with the group, and it's from ATF's internet site. It's a publication called the National Firearms Commerce and Trafficking Assessment, Volume 2. And what I sent out was the link for New York State. And when I was looking at this, there was a couple other cities in the state that they broke down further into the city, but they did not have Rochester. So I went ahead and asked them to produce something from Rochester. It's just about done. It just has to have final approval for that. And some of the things that are on here talks about the crime guns recovered from 2017 to 2021. And it has a couple of different things. I won't not get into all of it, you can read it for yourself, but some things that might be of interest is crime guns by possessor age, gun dealer to recovery mileage, talks about time to crime. So take a look at that yourself, and I'm going to work on getting the Rochester one for you guys.
Thank you. You know, we've been working on this work for many years, and to have Mr. Curran with us from ATF is very critical. And we really appreciate your partnership. And we know that your job is kind of tough at times because, you know, when we talk about our gun trace data report and the TR law and all that, that's when we kind of, you know, have some differences there, but we appreciate your consistency in coming with you and you fighting for getting us more information, because that information is powerful. And we've been utilizing that to help us advocate for things that can make us better. Today, there was a press conference I was interviewed today about the stuff that the state's passing. A lot of, and we know if Kathy was here, she would be touting all of these new state laws that have been passed concerning gun violence that have been introduced. Some have passed, some been introduced and are coming going forward. One of them is now the gun dealers have to post a warning sign in their facilities about the impact that guns can have on folks. It's kind of like what they're doing with what they did, if you will, with the tobacco industry, with labeling cigarette labels and things of that nature. So we, of course, are pushing to say, hey, we need more, but we appreciate the direction that they're going in. So thank you, sir. For your
couple other things too. Within the last month, we arrested a gun trafficker on St. Paul Street.
Nice.
We had some undercover purchases in, and we did a search warrant on his house, and he's in federal custody right now.
Nice.
So he's cut off.
Nice.
We also have another person that was bringing guns into Rochester from out of state. Still sealed. He's no longer in business, so he's in custody on another matter. But I'll be able to tell more about that at the next meeting.
Good. And could we get more information about the St. Paul guy too? Like, where is he trafficking those? Were they coming from in-state or out of state? I guess is all I want to know.
Sure, it's very early on. In
I understand. I get that.
But we can get some more information as time goes on.
Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing more about that. But good job on that.
And one thing that was really important last week, Deputy Chief Keith Stiff went to ATF for the Police Executive Forum on crime guns. He went down to ATF headquarters. The Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General spoke. He took part in that meeting. That was great. I really appreciated taking the time out going, and I think he's a great leader. He's great. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, Deputy Chief Stiff, we're very proud of him to have. It was a good catch for Rochester, for sure.
I got one more thing. Is
go ahead.
Project Tips.
Okay.
It's the trust information programs and services.
Yep. It's
improving, communication between law enforcement and the community. So the next meeting is going to be in June 27th, the Willie Lightfoot Rec Center, 271 Flint Street, and it's from 1 to 6 p.m.
All right, well, share that with Dassy. She'll get it out to the rest of the crew, that flyer. They've been around a long time. They've been doing community events for a long time. They're very consistent, Project Tips, and we appreciate their work, and we work alongside with them as well.
The community member, James McCauley, is very passionate about him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's upset with me now because I've been missing my Project Exile meetings that they have over there. So he's been trying to get me back over there for a while. They're so busy, but he does great work. Yeah.
Thursday.
All right.
Thank you.
But thank you, Mr. Curran, for your report. And I'm gonna go to the youth, Ruth, for the youth committee.
Yes, good evening. One thing that we have been working on is our conference, and that has been set. It's gonna be July the 6th from 9 AM to 3 PM at the, convention center,
Mhm.
the Riverside Convention Center.
Huh?
And we're working on the, program. It's just about done.
Great.
The save the date, I'm not
Well,
really.
Well, you just gave us the information we needed for the save the date. So that's what we were looking for, date, time, location, all of that. So you just gave us that. Thank you.
I have my list that I'm due to get to you by Wednesday.
Mhm.
All of the people, because I don't know all the people that you have. And, I don't, if they're double, if we have the same people, you know, we just cross them out or whatever. But, we look like it looks good.
It's coming together.
It's coming together.
All right.
I'm waiting to hear from my group to see, they had some tasks they were supposed to do.
Okay.
I will also get that in an email to you, that email on Wednesday.
Wonderful. So just so folks know, one of the things that came out of we heard very loud and clear from our young people that participated in our Rock Against Gun Violence Solution Action Plan. We had pretty good, extensive participation from our young people. And some of them were even here at our council meeting we just recently had from the YVOV, did I say that correctly? And they also, I asked them about, you guys working on the, they knew about the conference, they heard about they're having conversation. Mr. Harris has been working with them, having conversations about the conference. We are looking to hold, what, a couple hundred people I think we're talking about?
Yes, 200.
Couple hundred people is our goal, youth, more attended than anyone. Very heavily organized and participated by young people, but we heard from the young people that one, they felt like there more need to be happening that was free for them. And some of them felt just like their voices weren't heard enough. And we wanted to create a space, safe space for them to come and to be able to have conversations, a whole conference geared around violence, anti-violence prevention, all of that they're heavily involved in. And Ms. Ruth is chairing the youth committee, along with Septimus, has been doing a lot of work in that space. And we just told them, look, run with this and let's just have an amazing conference. And so that's what this is. And we hope maybe making an annual thing. This will be the first Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition sponsored City of Council youth anti-gun violence prevention conference that we're hosting, and to have it at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center, I think is perfect.
It's called in crisis.
Youth in Crisis.
And
I love it.
that's what we have in our city right now. Our
Amen.
youth is in crisis. And we got to do something about it. We also are going to have young people there who have been involved with the gun violence, the gunshot victims, and so on and so forth. So we're looking at, you know, people, them young people get together and talking, and maybe they can bring some good out of it. I'm also looking at the city school district to find out their dropouts, their school dropouts. Where are they? Are they the ones that, as I said before, are they the ones stealing the cars? You know, where are these kids? Can we get them back and bring them back into the fold? You know, they may not be going to a city school, but maybe they can go to a program or something to get them back into the fold again.
So thank you, Ruth, and your team for the work that you're doing in that space. You know, our team here has been at your disposal, whatever you need. The more information you can give us, the sooner, the better, so that we can get the information out as quickly as possible so that we can make sure that the entire community is aware of this event. We want this to be a real big buzz for our community, and we want our young people to really get engaged. Does anybody have a couple questions for Ruth? Yes, Council President, and then July 6th, from 9 to 3 p.m. at the Riverside Convention Center. And once again, it's called Youth in Crisis. So it's Rock Against Gun Violence City Council presents Youth in Crisis Conference, right? At the Rochester Riverside Convention Center, July 6th, which is a Saturday, from 9 to 3 p.m. Save the date. We should have, hopefully by the end of the week, we should have a nice save the date flyer for you that we're gonna start pushing out there. We're gonna hopefully get buy some social media ads as well, and hopefully get some radio stuff and really get the message out about this youth conference. And I'm looking forward to seeing the program. If I know anything about Ruth and Septimus and that group, it's going to be a very culturally competent program. I promise you that, and be packed full of wonderful things and talented opportunities that we'll see talents from various different spaces. So we're very excited about this conference. We pushed it back to give it time to make sure that we did something quality and not just threw something together, because we were going to have this in June, this month, and we really just didn't feel like we had enough time to give it what it deserves, and we want to give this the quality it deserves. Okay, so that's exciting. So keep us in your prayers about that. I'm going to move into. I want the Mr. President to talk a little bit about the Advocacy Committee, a little bit about some of the work that's in conjunction with some of the recommendations, because I want people to understand that when we did this solution action plan, I hope you're seeing the plan unfolding, because it is. A lot of the things that's in that plan, we're implementing. It didn't take 6 months, a year, 2 years later. We're implementing these things real time, and then there's more that's coming out. And there's a lot of the things that are in that plan that don't fall on city government. There may be some other things that federal government need to do, county government, city school district, state and families, community-based organizations, or faith-based. So remember, those are all of the individuals we identify in the plan and some of these things, but everything within the privy of city council, we're doing everything we can. And we probably need to come back in a few months and just list all of those things that we've done since the report came out. But I want to have some exciting things that we're getting ready to bring forth this year, Lord willing, that and I want the council president to kind of address.
Yeah, thank you for that. So a couple things. One, the gun trace data report that we all well aware of had limitations, and cover your ears for a moment, ATF Agent Curran, but we actually are going to put forward a memorializing resolution from the city council that requests the federal government to reconsider how the release of gun trace data is presented to communities, and basically to strike down the TR amendment, which limits what information can be given to the public. So that's something that we as a council, we can send that as a resolution. So we're going to work on that. The other thing is the Advocacy Committee has been working on the procurement, looking at procurements. So the city does a lot of business, and we want to make sure that we're not doing business with harmful actors. So if there's a gun dealer that maybe there's more of this certain type of gun on the street, then we don't want to be doing business with that gun dealer. So we're going to look at procurement contracts. There's also things that can be done within the charter. So we're looking at possibly by the month of September or so, rolling out a package of things that are related to gun violence specifically, or that have adjacency to gun violence, that we as a city council can do that are within our control, that are in our charter or within the scope of city government. So some of those things we're still doing research and we're still doing some work on, but the hope is to bring that back to this committee as a whole before we release something in September, just to get some feedback and to get some sense of the direction that we're heading in. So I'm very excited that, like you said, we're seeing the action plan move in so many different directions all at the same time, and it was not a shelf plan. This was a real plan. So excited to see the work unfold.
And so thank you, Mr. President, and for the support. We have a document that some of you will send this out to, Dassy. Make sure, because I don't know if we've ever sent the PDF copy of this out to all the coalition members. But what and I'm moving into to my report, and then we'll let you go. We're a few minutes over, but just bear with us for just a few more minutes. On the table here, those of you who are not with us, we'll send this out so you'll have this information. you'll see there's the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition. We did kind of an overview of the committees, the gun violence solution, short-term and long-term, and then there's a QR code on here. We've been passing these out. I had them at Square Fair, I had them at Parcel 5. I've been taking them to any community events that I'm doing, really trying to make sure that people understand the work. We just finished 3 sessions of the truth behind gun trace data report out in the community where we explained and then that piece is on the table as well. You should have also had some double page of the key findings of the gun trace data report. We're also working with our mayor, and we had a conversation during budget hearings about making the report annual or biannual. So we're having that conversation, and we're looking to make the gun trace data report either annual or biannual so that that information comes out consistently and that it's available to the public. Also, you'll see we are excited about relaunching A Shot from a Gun Can't Be Undone. You see the replica of the billboards that are going to be going up. That is not actual replica. This was probably more so how it would look. Some of you probably won't be able to see this on your screen, but it's basically the same replica you have there, but it's going to say End Gun Violence in Rochester, and then there's the phone number where they're able to call. We're happy and elated that the mayor has taken on this relaunch, because we launched this back in 2018. It was very successful PSA, chosen by the children. The kids chose these images. The ones they chose were more graphic than what you have here. We had to tone them down because I was shocked at what these kids chose. Like, it was very graphic, and probably due to some of the video games and the stuff that they're playing, they're used to seeing very graphic images, and they felt like we needed to. We thought the gun was a little, no, you should have saw with some of the stuff they really had was way more than what you're seeing. I mean, blood splattering all over the place. It was, and they said, like, this is the stuff that you need to capture our attention, to get us to pay attention to what's going on. And we had an intern here today who was a young fella, and I was talking to him, and he was in one of our facilities, and he saw this on the wall. He said, yeah, it definitely captured my attention. And so he wanted to know a little more about the program and what we're doing. So we're relaunching that this month. We hope to finish all of the details around that this week, but it's going to be billboards. There'll be PSAs on the radio. We'll have information in our centers. There'll be handouts, and these will be little small palm cards as well with the number on it. That's, as soon as you call that number, you can get assistance if you're in a situation or you want to talk. Of course, if you're in an emergency situation, you dial 911. But if you need assistance in trying to help navigate through the trauma and different things associated, we have information that is going to be available to people in our public libraries, in our centers, any city facility. This information will be there, and we'll try to get it out to other places as well too. And so that is something that we're very, very excited for. It was very successful in 2018, and we're relaunching that this month in National Gun Violence Awareness Month. And so we're gonna probably have a big presser that we'll let you guys know about. Hopefully the billboards will be up at the presser, so we can maybe do it in front of one of our billboards. And we'll invite all of our partners to come and be a part of that. I'm sure Mayor, however, it depends on the mayor's schedule, because he'll be a part of this, of course. And so, we're very excited about that. And so from here on, we just want to really draw our attention to the youth conference. We're really working very hard on that, and the relaunch of the Shot from a Gun Can't Be Undone. Think About It PSA. So that's the next work what we'll be doing between now and the next meeting. There's more data that we've asked for in this meeting from Captain Murrah. You see Agent Curran, who's going to be providing some additional information from us that he's requested and he's asked for, and we thank you for that, as well as those 2 great arrests that they made. We're grateful for that as well, and we're looking for even more. And hopefully the word is getting out about that's trafficking guns in this city is not going to be tolerated, and you will be brought to justice. And so all of that is all, hopefully, we're seeing that we're going in the right direction towards ending the amount of homicides and shootings that we're having in our city. And so we got to just keep supporting one another in the work that we do. And we're going to be consistent with continually to work on our solutions and our action plan, engaging our youth, engaging our citizens, supporting the work of those providing the prevention and the advocacy work for the families impacted. And now we're doing that on a comprehensive citywide approach. And that work we're very, very proud of. And we've codified that now through city council. So everything we talked about last year, right, that we wanted to do. And we were talking about codifying. I said, once I became back into, we reorganized and we got settled, and now I'm chairing public safety, and we wanted to make sure all of council was involved in this, and they have, and they've supported this work as well as the mayor. And so I just wanted to put that out there that, everything that we set out to do. So oftentimes when you get people together and you're volunteering, and you're working hard, you don't see your results, and you don't feel like government's moving quick enough or fast enough, or they don't care, or all these things. And I just want to say that's so far from the truth, especially in regards to this Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition. And we're not the answer to all of the solutions and problems, but we are working collaboratively with, you see everyone at this table, many partners that we have who are working on this from different angles. And it's our job as legislators, because our job is to legislate. That's our job, right? And we're trying to support this work, not only through legislation, but also through the collaboration and the connections that we're making and support that we're providing to all of the other entities that are in this partnership that are working on this work. And we created an initiative that, I told you, a lot of people said, our job is not to create initiatives and do programs. Our job is to legislate. Well, we say we can do both. We can walk and chew gum. We can have programs and legislate at the same time because it's needed, right? Because we're in a crisis. We're in a state of emergency. Mr. Sanders said the mayor has re-signed the state of emergency. We're in a state of emergency now, citizens of Rochester. So that means we need an emergency response. That means we need an urgency, right? To handle and combat this violence in our communities. No time to be sleeping, no time to be slumbering, no time to be sitting back like everything is fine. It's not fine. We're in a state of emergency, period. Wasn't that said tonight? We re-signed state of emergency. So we're not going to stop, and we're not going to lay off until 0 lives are being taken, period. And that's where we at with this, and that's our passion and our motivation. So I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I saw that this we have to figure out who's going to be responsible for the community calendar. So we do not have a current calendar. We need to have a conversation with communications, I think, and the administration.
The new website's supposed to be coming within the next.
The new website's supposed to be coming, so hopefully we'll figure that out. But we should have there should be a city community calendar. And we should be able to put as much stuff on there as possible, especially city-sponsored or supported events. We should never be competing with each other. And so I'm glad to see other people agree with that. The next meeting, thank you, Daxie, for bringing that up. The next meeting for the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition will be Monday, July 8th, which will be 2 days after our fabulous youth conference. So we should have a lot to talk about and debrief after the conference, but you will be hearing from us before then with dates about the presser for relaunching of the Think About It campaign. So I hope everyone will, once you get that information, will be able to join us for that press conference and that relaunch, okay? So I'm gonna say to you, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. Let me look at this thing real quick and make sure I'm not missing a last minute question here. Rise Up Rochester will be hosting peace walks starting this month on Thursday. So we'll make sure we add that to the email comments that we send out in the minutes You'll see that on the minutes. Everybody should be getting the minutes and all. Dassie and Kathy doing a wonderful job of keeping you updated out. Everybody's getting updated and getting all, we believe in really keeping everybody on the same page. But until next month, we'll see you before then, but God bless you. Thank you so much for your support, and don't hesitate to send us calendar, things that you're doing, events that you're doing. Let us know so that we can at least keep our own internal calendar so that we can support each other in the works that we do. All right. Thank you all. God bless you. Have a good night. Thank you. Hey, Beth, how are you? God bless everybody. See you guys later. Blessings.
Okay.
Send you.
Willie?